The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition available now.
This is News Talk.
Now you're welcome along. Wednesdays Off the Ball coming at you. So on the football show we're busy. Sam Lee of The Athletic on Man City, Erling Haaland and this extraordinarily interesting season they're having. We don't talk about Man City very often, but there's so many things going on at the club. We've completely forgotten about the 115 charges against them. That is old news. So Sam Lee will chat to us about all the goings on there. Marcelo Mora-Irahu will talk to us about Messi and drug cartel. More and on. The Dream Team are in for Wednesday Night Rugby. It's Grand Slam build-up week, very much so. Jerry Thornley, Andy Dunn in the house. And then Cheltenham, day 2. John Duggan joins us from the course at 7:30 to fill us in. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Michael McCarthy here in studio. Hello.
How are you doing?
And Richie McCormack. Hello.
Hello, Joseph.
Mick, before I go any further, Prestbury Cup latest, Ireland 10, UK 4. Breathe easy.
2 5-2s in a row. Yeah, like this is just consistency of which, like, you know, how are you supposed to compete with that kind of level of consistent excellence?
Yes, the day started with the Willie Mullins 1-2-3 and I thought we're going to be okay.
Didn't go get all the way down to 8 this time, no.
No.
In fairness, like, I watched the Champion Chase and Energumene won it, like, and it was one of those kind of...
Who won it?
Energumene, I'm going to say. Richie, will you back me up on that one?
Controversial.
I heard during the course of the commentary, and it's ITB's commentary that's carried on Virgin Media. I think during the course of the race and the aftermath, 3 different pronunciations. 3. I don't think there's any settled pronunciation guide for Energumene.
I'm far from a horse racing expert, but I've actually known about this horse since he was, you know, like a novice over, you know, and honestly, because it was around it, he was like getting ready to run the Arkle 3 years ago. It was when I was most into Cheltenham. I know this horse. I've seen this horse win the Champion Chase last year. I seen it win it this year. I cannot pronounce the name. It was an amazing performance.
Oh, sorry, an amazing performance. John talks about that, yeah. But it is a very irritating thing that happens in horse racing.
Yeah.
Like, we just call it by a name that's easy to pronounce. Like, if I want, like, Koto, Kato Star.
Koto, yeah, for how many years?
Oh, that was the worst. I could never remember.
Just call it Dave.
Dave the horse.
Yeah, so John will be along. He was talking to Robbie Keane, the great and the good.
Wow. At
Cheltenham today.
Robbie at Cheltenham.
Yeah. Is he a racing fan?
I have no idea.
A lot of footballers there today.
Yeah.
Saw Harry Redknapp.
Okay.
Interviewed by Mark Chapman. Who's going to win the league, Harry? Arsenal.
Okay, right.
Harry went all in on Arsenal. And then, interestingly, Alex Ferguson doorstepped ahead of one of his horses' races. He's a co-owner. I think actually a co-owner, not like a Rock of Gibraltar.
Don't open that Pandora's box.
And Mark Chapman said, Sir Alex. Arsenal or Manchester City? Fergie said, not interested.
He doesn't like them trying to get the cheeky football interviews with him at Cheltenham. I've seen that a few times over the years, or even in Ireland when he's come over for races at RTE have tried to get their Alex Ferguson.
Well, they got the best quote out of him on you know, the last 10 years at Manchester United, where he said somebody needs to get control of the thing. Who would have thought Punchestown Racecourse would be?
But he immediately didn't realise, like, I don't want to do this.
Oh, well, as Mark Chapman was approaching him, he, you know, they've got the microphones and Ferguson's on coming a while away, and Chapman is saying...
Well, you would see Chapman coming a mile away, to be fair. There's a glow.
He's saying, yeah.
Off a suit.
Yeah.
There's one man you should never doorstep, it's Alex Ferguson. And Ferguson says, why don't you take your own advice? And I thought, oh, go on. Go full Hugh Grant here. But he gave, you know, he went and chatted to him a bit. That Hugh Grant thing was interesting.
I think I missed this.
Oh.
I heard it mentioned somewhere, but I wasn't interested enough to go look it up. But now I am.
It's not super
Just
interesting.
shut down.
Actually, Keith Duggan wrote a fantastic piece about Hugh Grant in the Irish Times.
Okay.
Which was more interesting than the event itself. But
right.
You would need to see the event itself to appreciate it.
I know you're going to tell me this.
It was kind of, excuse me, the reporter's name escapes me. I didn't delve too deeply into it, but it's enthusiastic, glitz and glamour, superficial questions.
Yeah.
Meets Hugh Grant, thinly veiled disdain for the whole thing, and so questions like, and this is towards the end when it's gone very badly. And what are you wearing? Who are you wearing? Whatever. What are you wearing? And Hugh Grant said, my suit. And at that stage, she was like, starting to get a bit, okay, come on. But, who designed it? My tailor. Okay, thanks so much. Bye. That kind of a deal. And she asked him, you're in this new movie. I mean, it was amazing to be part of it, And he was like, what? I was only in it for 3 minutes. So
he just decided he was going to be anti the entire industry.
Yeah. Painfully so. And then, is there any movie or any actor you hope wins tonight? Oh, no.
Oh God.
Yeah. To be fair, she handled it well. I don't know if you've ever been on that treadmill whereby, like when we used to do festivals back in the day, and you'd have this treadmill of people who are like basically just being pushed in by their PRs and just go, oh yeah, just talk to these for 10 minutes. And occasionally you will come across one or two who had no interest in talking, like no interest, and were shoved in there by their PR, and you just kind of go, this isn't working, and you try and dive out of it as quick as you possibly can. So fair play to her for doing that. And it's not like, it's no fun. I know the stars kind of think they're being cool, but they've said if you're going to say do the interview. Don't be a douche about it.
There is a sort of power dynamic where it's not big or clever to veer towards rudeness. I think he flirted with rudeness, maybe didn't fully go into it. There was just enough wryness to make it, I understand, a touch difficult here, but it wasn't comfortable for her, I'm sure.
No.
He presented an award then with Andy McDowell.
All right, okay.
Reunited.
With all their chemistry that they had all those years ago.
Is it still raining? I hadn't noticed.
Yeah. That was mainly her fault, I would say, but anyway, there you go.
Sorry, did you not think that worked, that film?
Great film.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant amazing in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was one of the worst performances in a good movie of all time, surely.
Oof. That is a shout.
No? Is it raining? I hadn't noticed.
It's not a great line.
It's not bad. That's she didn't write the line, to be fair.
It was her delivery was terrible.
That's a tough line.
Wooden. Did you feel like she was in love with Hugh Grant right then, that moment, in the rain?
No, I never really saw what she saw in him.
Well, that's fair, yeah.
Remarkably strong jaw.
A charming kind of like chappy.
No, he was, but she was out of his league.
Was she?
Here.
Yeah, I thought so.
Hugh Grant's a handsome man.
I know, but he was a bit of a mess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a handsome mess.
Don't know if she wasn't the best.
He was a handsome mess.
Marrying old men.
Apparently, well, yeah, but yeah. So, but then maybe she had a type and Hugh Grant was like sharing an apartment and her like other husband was like millionaire, super successful, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
we went, I would like to track how we got from Energumene to this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the jump off. The jump off
It was direct though. It was direct all the way.
Richard Curtis resisted casting Hugh Grant for a long time because he thought he was too good looking for that role.
Okay.
But eventually,
you've trumped me now. You know more about Four Weddings and a Funeral
than I do. Your level of research.
It's a good film.
Quite something.
It's a good film.
Very good film. Very good lines in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll push on.
I know acting performances for most of the people in it.
Robbie Keane, talking to John Duggan, plus all the main protagonists from Cheltenham today. That's coming at 7:30. Someone's typing very slowly. Pete. Arthur's typing outside. Pete says, so I had to stay with it. Pete says Notting Hill is far superior.
Pete doesn't contribute much on the show, but when he does, it's important. We have to wait for that typing to come true because he doesn't offer his opinions all that much. But when he does,
actually an actor.
Yeah. Oh, is he? Yeah.
Well, sorry, he's an extra.
I seen him on TikTok there.
No, he is.
Right.
What are you an extra in, Pete? Brooklyn. Yeah, he was on the boat. You were on the boat, weren't you? He was on the boat in
Saoirse Ronan one.
Yeah.
There you go. Good movie. I don't know if I've ever even seen it, but
I read the book. Oh, no, I've seen the film as well.
It's
good.
Yeah.
There was
Jim Sheridan, isn't it?
There's a compelling scene on the boat.
Is there anything going on in sport today, Joe?
Right, sorry.
I don't know.
Straighten up, everyone. Here we go. The Newsround brought to you with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back.
Sorry, they've just told us that Pete's never seen Brooklyn either.
You're in it. Neon Night Edition is available now. So, Richie, we're starting with Cheltenham. Give us the synopsis.
Energumene claimed back-to-back wins in the Queen Mother Champion Chase today. The feature on day 2 of the festival. The 6-5 favourite came home a full 10 lengths ahead of the Henry de Bromhead-trained Captain Guinness. That was Mullen's second winner of the day after Ampar A Pass led home a close sudden 1-2-3 in the Ballymore Novices hurdle. Henry de Bromhead doubled his tally of winners at the festival with Mascada a 22-1 victor in the Grand Annual. He was asked by Racing TV afterwards if today's rain made him more optimistic for a Mascada win.
Yeah, as much as I would. No, but we were hoping, certainly the ground would suit her, and Dara said she absolutely loved it. She won at Limerick at Christmas. The horse she beat has done very well since, so her form was strong, and she was a bit disappointing at Leopardstown. We felt the ground might have just been a bit too nice for her there. And it's brilliant, amazing.
Gordon Elliot, Rich?
Yeah, not a great festival for him so far, but he did take a 5th win in 7 years in the Glenfarclas Chase, with Delta Work retaining their title. Delta Work's stablemate Galvin was 2nd, and Elliot says both will now head for Aintree and the Grand National.
Look, it'll be interesting to see what I think it inconvenienced Delta more, the better ground, which that would have made Galvin a better chance. But in fairness to Delta, he staged very well. Davey headed him over the last, and Delta put his head back down. But listen, great to have a winner. We were just short-headed in a lot of seconds and thirds, but that's the second winner on the board now, so we're happy.
Elsewhere, 8-1 shot the Real Whacker took the Brown Advisory Novices Chase for trainer Patrick Neville. Harry and Dan Skelton combined for 9-1 shot Langer Dan to win the Coral Cup, and the champion bumper, the final race of the day, went to 7-2 Chance, A Dream to Share.
So John with us 7:30. I mean, I really enjoyed the TV coverage in many ways. I mean, there's a defensive aspect, as in, and now we're going to talk to this person about animal welfare, and she's going to tell us all the great things they're doing there, and now we're talking to this person about how we're basically green and there's no plastic bottles, and so there's that, which is kind of interesting if you're just observing where racing is in British culture. But I do think, the interviews with the winners when the long microphone is out work really brilliantly, and it's a very smooth operation. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of different people doing different things, and the coverage is really good in that respect, and there's a familiarity between the jockey generally and the interviewer, because racing is that kind of community. And Rachel Blackmore will turn to Mark Chapman and said, well, if Willie had listened to you, we wouldn't have raced it in this race, and there's that kind of thing, and you get some really nice insights. Impere Pass, who won the first 40 Mullins, so the stable hand and the jockey, was it Paul Tennant? Name escapes me. I think it might have been Tennant. Regardless, the interesting thing was they were, did you know the horse was this good, and what do you expect? And so jockey initially was saying, this horse is so lazy in the yard, it does nothing, it won't run. So we thought, good, but didn't know till we got here. So yeah, good. And then stable hand later came, and interviewer was saying, did you know the horse was this good? And she was saying, no, we had no idea, because he doesn't do anything at home. And stuff like that is great. You know, it's really
lovely. He's on the horse, having just won the race, while talking about this.
The visuals are cool.
This is the visuals are cool, but also it is so raw and immediate. I mean, he is still literally on the course with the horse while he's giving this interview. You're so right. We should almost separate and have a completely separate conversation about the defensiveness, about the welfare, and about horse racing's place. But as a TV product for what they do, there was a concern when it went from Channel 4 to ITV that it would lose some of that they just had it down, and it hasn't. If anything, it's actually even got a little bit better, and the names, with McCoy and all, the way they go from, they seem to do the perfect amount of time everywhere. So they'll have the kind of immediate reaction, they'll have the write down for the interviews, they'll have, and then they'll move on to the next race, they'll go to the betting ring, they'll go to the parade, then they'll go to the betting ring, and everything is just time perfection. They've got a great cast of characters, everybody does their job perfectly. It is brilliant sports television. And it always kind of has been around Cheltenham as well, and it is it was such a concern to people when Channel 4 Racing kind of packed it in that would leave it, but they just know what to do. It's the same people involved for the most part,
Ed Chamberlain's great as well. I mean, I was very sad when he left Monday Night Football. He's good, just a properly good presenter. So there is all of that. A few texts in. Don't worry about Dave the horse. There was no mispronouncing Langer Dan today when he romped home at 9-1, says Denners. And then John says, Robert Smith of The Cure. The reporter screams, are you as excited as me to be here? He replies, clearly not. Four Weddings was on TV last Friday. It has not aged well. Notting Hill far superior, says Zed.
I don't think it hasn't aged well. It's of its time. It feels like a 90s movie, but it doesn't feel like something that used to be funny but isn't anymore.
I watched it over Christmas.
Yeah.
I thought it was still good. I'd probably lean towards Notting Hill.
I don't think I've seen Notting Hill, I have to be honest. I'm not sure, but I don't think I've seen it. No.
Very good.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah. Pep Guardiola named her as one of his 3 heroes. Did you see this?
Yeah, with Tiger Woods and
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, that's it, yeah.
We'll ask Sam Lee about this later on.
Okay.
I think he was being serious.
He was, apparently in playful form, though, in his
Well,
interview.
he will be.
After winning 7-0.
Haaland wasn't happy to have been taken off.
You see,
he was in one of Champions League record.
This happened last night, and it was like there was something a bit spoil-sporty about it.
Yeah.
He took him off after, was it even 60 minutes? It was close to 60 minutes anyway. And it's just like, you've just scored 5 goals. That half an hour that he's going to do on the high of his life to try and score a double hat-trick in the Champions League and break a record is more beneficial to him than the half-hour rest he's going to get ahead of the weekend. And Pep knows that, and there's just something in it that's like, look who's boss here. There just is. Even if he doesn't know it, that's still why he's doing it.
Yeah. Totally agree. I mean, I called him goal-scoring extrovert last night. I mean, the more he could have stayed on and scored more goals, the better for him. Rest him in the FA Cup at the weekend if you're desperate to rest him.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the few nights where...
That's it. I forgot that they weren't even playing Premier League this week. They're playing like a championship opposition in the...
Vincent Kompany's Burnley.
Right, okay, well, good championship opposition. Best championship team in history, I read somewhere recently.
So they're saying, yeah. Sorry, Rich, where are we going?
We should mention it's Matt Chapman, by the way, on the ITV.
I keep calling him Mark.
Yeah. Mark Chapman, Kill John Lennon / presents on the BBC, whichever one you want to go for.
Matt Chapman. They're drip feeding as well. Interview an interview he has done with Michael O'Leary across the 4 days, but it's really good. And O'Leary doesn't hold back on anything, as you might imagine. You know, yesterday it was like Davy Russell should never have come back. Never have come back. He's got a young family. Should have been, responsible enough to them, and nothing to prove. Should never have come back. All this kind of stuff. He's very forthright, very good. Anyway, sorry, Champions League.
Yes, indeed. Liverpool are no strangers to Champions League comebacks, but they must outdo all previous efforts tonight. They went to the second leg of their last 16 tie away to Real Madrid, 5-2 down. The teams are in for this one. Couple of changes for Madrid, one enforced, one not. Thibaut Courtois continues in goal. It's a back four of Danny Carvajal, Eder Militao, Tony Rudiger and Nacho, who came on for David Alaba in the first leg and continues there at left back. In midfield, it's Luka Modric, Toni Kroos and Eduardo Camavinga, and a front three of Federico Valverde, Vinicius Jr. and Karim Benzema. For Liverpool, 3 changes for them, one of which is at the back. Alisson Becker starts in goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson are their back 4. In midfield then, the duo of James Milner and Fabinho. In front of them, Mo Salah, Diogo Jota and Cody Gakpo. Darwin Núñez leads the line, and there's been extensive crowd trouble in Naples ahead of tonight's second leg clash of Napoli and Eintracht Frankfurt. Several cars, including a police car, have been set on fire in the city centre by a gang of around 600 Eintracht ultras. German fans weren't allowed tickets for this particular game. That was after crowd trouble in the first leg in Frankfurt. The Eintracht fans have been rounded up, and their bus that they were on was then bottled and stoned by locals as well. Napoli hold a 2-0 first leg lead in that tie. Both of tonight's games start at 8. A couple of Premier League games tonight as well. A Southampton win at home to Brentford would see them move off the foot of the table. Gavin Bazunu looking to keep 3 consecutive clean sheets, and Brighton can pull level on points with Liverpool if they can win at home to Crystal Palace. Evan Ferguson on the bench for Roberto De Zerbi's side. There's a relegation 6-pointer in the WSL as bottom side Leicester go to fellow strugglers Tottenham, and Championship leaders Burnley, as mentioned, are away to Hull City tonight.
I do not like the look of that Liverpool team.
Midfield's asking for trouble.
This could get very, very ugly. Klopp, as he does, is attack leaning, so he's going for it. But there's a point where try and edge your way in and keep a clean sheet and score 1 and then maybe 2, and if you've got 20 minutes to chase a third, well and good. So the back 4 fine. So we're making this as the midfield 2, Fabinho and James Milner. Yeah. And then ahead of them, Darwin Núñez, Jota, Mo Salah. So Salah will not track back whatsoever. Jota will be a reasonably honest broker in there. But you're talking, on the other hand, about Camavinga, who will run all over those 3 players. He's just that gifted and brilliant on the ball as well. Then you're talking Kroos and Modric as well. And Benzema's back, Vinicius Jr., Valverde. Ooh.
There's the first thing that jumped to mind was Ireland overreacting to Denmark's lead in the World Cup playoff that time and playing without a midfield, and that did not go well. And
that's the one with Cyrus Christie was in midfield.
Yeah, it was the one where
game.
we had no midfield in the 5-0 in Lansdowne Road for the 5-1, for the World Cup playoff. But yeah, like Jota, I suppose it depends where Jota plays. You know what I mean? Maybe he's thinking of Jota as one of the three and just, slightly more ahead in a kind of a Mason Mount style role or whatever, Odegaard or whatever. But
Jota's fit and reasonably mobile, so he can sit on whoever's that deeper midfield or of the three for Madrid. I don't know, just Milner and Fabinho. Don't know. But yeah, his hand is tied in many respects. There's a tweet into me saying, speaking of drama, you haven't mentioned the significance of today. New season of Ted Lasso, lads. Are we pumped? Asks Graham.
So I'm on season 1, but I'm enjoying it. How many seasons am I behind? 4?
That was only 2.
No, this is the third one, yeah.
So I can catch up pretty quickly here then.
Yeah.
I've loved it so far, but I'm only about 5 or 6 episodes in.
It's
miles behind.
I don't think it's very good, but it has loads of heart, so that kind of covers over a multitude. But I don't think it's that good. But it does.
I find it enjoyable though. Do you not?
Yeah,
I wanted to watch the next episode. All the characters are terrible and sort of a little bit, a little bit top line.
It's not trying to be high art.
Exactly, but
it
it's
has
enjoyable.
Just enough likability.
But isn't that what you want sometimes especially when you work until the late hours as we do, Joe?
Oh my God. Well, I'm
nice
just
and simple.
Tired all the time. We went home and we were watching the second season of Slow Horses, and halfway through the first episode said, I'm not keeping up with any of this.
Yeah.
Where's Ted Lasso when you do it?
Exactly. There's not many of them around anymore.
The post-race interviews were better on RTE at Leopardstown Christmas when the interviewer also on a horse, says Kieran Delgany. What does them also being on a horse add though?
I don't know, funny or visual. Maybe they can hear better. Yeah. I would say though that the RTE coverage of racing is good. They have the same general format, I would say, possibly with slightly less people, but it's exactly. They know when. Again, I think the key is not to be anywhere for too long.
Yeah.
And to get around that course and to use the the different aspects of what is pre-race and post-race.
It's quite something as well, isn't it, when you think, here we are, Cheltenham, and it's Ruby, AP McCoy, and
it's an unbelievable
Mick Canaan, is it?
Mick Fitzgerald.
Excuse me. Excuse me. My racing knowledge is obviously showing up there. Fitzgerald. But
he's brilliant as well. Yeah.
He's really good. Yeah. And then the guy with the betting ring is Irish as well.
Yeah.
Who is?
Richie.
I'm not the betting guy.
Come on.
It's not John McCurrick.
Thank God.
Shout again, Will. Brian Jennings.
Yes.
So it's an Irish takeover.
Yeah. Of course it is. Yeah. But it's that's not an unusual thing for racing, especially like every jockey in history has been Irish, really.
I know. It's feeling like that.
Yeah.
So you have Peter O'Mahony for us.
Yeah, he was one of the main folks out in front of the media today, along with Jonathan Sexton, ahead of that Grand Slam decider with England. O'Mahony singling out Sexton for special praise today. The Ireland captain is going to play his final ever Six Nations game on Saturday as Andy Farrell's side try to secure a third Grand Slam of the Six Nations era. O'Mahony says Sexton will leave a huge gap in the squad when he goes.
It's been too big a career, too important a career, too long a career to sit here and sum it up in a few words. It's he's changed rugby, changed Irish rugby, obviously for the better. Teaches people what it's like to be a professional, what it's like to be a proper Irishman, and a good person above all. So again, all these things add to the occasion at the weekend, but. There are things we've spoken about and everyone's acknowledged and put to one side for 80 minutes,
It's going to be such a vacuum when Sexton's gone. I mean, when you watch Irish rugby matches, I think all of us, 15% of our attention is just on him at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially there. I don't know, I've been to too many games in the last few years when I was covering games in like kind of 2017, 2018. I find my eyes just like... absolutely just saying, what's Johnny doing and how much is that going to impact what happens next,
Yeah, there's just like this,
so influential. The
skill set, he's brilliant, and when he's on the ball there's like a certain intelligence just emanating of him. You can just see he's operating at a different level. I hate the thought of him not being there. I think we should start a 1 more year chant on Saturday, regardless of how it goes. I mean, it's a last throw of the dice.
Are you on pitch side on Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is great.
Very good. And do you stay there for the game?
I think I don't know actually. Generally we're in studio, obviously. I think you can go to the truck,
right,
and watch on TV there, which I will probably do, because if you're just watching, I'd say the lads will watch from the stands somewhere. I'll go truck, because you just need to see if there's a red card and it's borderline. You need replays and all that kind of. Like, you're very much working at it still, so I won't just be out in the.
You're not relying on a lift not breaking down or something like that for you to get back on the pitch.
No. It's you'll be in the stands and near enough to pitch side, as I understand it.
Right. Okay.
I haven't
looking
checked
forward to seeing it. Hope it doesn't lash rain.
Because we're there we got the French Wales match, so
you're doing that at the pitch in the Aviva?
Doing coverage of that first from the Aviva.
Wow. So it's totally got to rain all day.
There's a very Johnny Sexton quote, by the way, about Saturday. So here's a man not losing his focus. I would never be able to live with myself if I don't turn up and play well. That's my focus. So that's where his head's at.
Yeah. If Johnny Sexton plays well, breaks the record, captains Ireland to a Grand Slam winning trophy lift, he should not play the Aviva games in the World Cup warm-ups.
I know, I totally agree.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see him in green in the Aviva Stadium ever again unless he decides to play another year after the World Cup, which isn't going to happen.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, good. That's we're on the same page there.
Rich, do you want one last story?
Brian Gleeson, by the way, not Brian Jennings. We've been inundated with corrections on that front.
We're
having a great one here.
Brian Jennings reads the news on Morning Ireland.
Will O'Callaghan screamed Brian Jennings into my ear. Brian Jennings, he said.
His son won on the last race of the day, by the way, today.
We're having a day of it.
We are, yeah. Joe Hodge is going to have to settle for a place in the Republic of Ireland under-21 squad for this month's friendly with Iceland at Turner's Cross. The midfielder had been tipped for a senior call-up after making 9 appearances for Wolves this season. Jim Crawford has named 13 previously uncapped players, including Tommy Cannon, who's on loan at Preston from Everton. He scored last night as well. Cork City pair Jimmy Corcoran and Matt Healy have also been called up for that game at their home ground, along with Johnny Kenny, who's on loan at Shamrock Rovers from Celtic. Meanwhile, much sought-after Cliftonville winger Sean Moore has been named in the Ireland under-19 squad for their Euro qualifiers, with Slovakia, Estonia and Greece. The 17-year-old had been at the centre of a cross-border tug-of-war, which has now been won by the FAI.
Very good. Someone says, Brian Gleeson, these 30-cent corrections are adding up. I know.
They were in with us with Matt Chapman earlier as well. So,
what was I saying? Mark? Where am I getting that from? BBC's?
Kill John Lennon.
Yeah, and not John Lennon's assassin.
Okay. That is us done for the Newsround this evening. Rich, thanks a mil.
Nice, lads.
Mick, thank you.
Thanks a million, lads.